Hey gaming enthusiasts! Ready to dive into the pulse-pounding highlights of Weibo Gaming in the PMGC 2023 group stages? From clutch plays to intense showdowns, we've got it all covered. If you're as hooked on these epic moments as we are, do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button, join our growing community, and let's share the thrill of gaming together. Get ready for the heart-pounding action as Weibo Gaming snatches an intense chicken dinner, facing off against the formidable DRS and 4MV on both sides.
Wate will likely be soon to follow, or at least attempt to. Killer suppressed by the nades around the edge. We saw what Suit could do with a nade in yesterday's end of Miramar. Killer goes down first. That's a spray coming on through Gap. Is able to land that nade finally. Weibo controlling the low ground here. They're really much more worried about that than Rules and Delta up on high. Ming is there on that ridgeline to try and control it. They're losing players pretty fast.
Yeah, DRS just a step behind. They needed the players to get closer to the top before they can answer back with nades, so they do trade it 1-for-1. Oh, Ming from distance gets the confirmation. So DRS will be down to 3. Weibo Gaming getting the reset, and on that south side, looks like Vibes did win out the fight between them and Dormorte. A solo out of Vibes is all that's left. He could play spoiler. He could look for that second place finish if DRS and Weibo Gaming engage here, and the fight is about to break. DRS pressed very close up to the hill.
I mean, with a decent set of nade knocks, it could go their way. I mean, there is a chance, right, for Doc, but as much as a slim possibility as it is, I think Ming is on the hunt right now. Over the top they go, and Delta quick on the trigger. Seven was highlighting his clutch potential for this roster. Looks like he won't let it go down just here. Won't even fall to that nade either, so able to stay alive. Suit is now down, and that gives them a little bit more mobility as two of those players now out of action as this res is enacted. Delta pushing forward through the smoke. He wants the fight. There's Ming on the off angle as well, but can't quite land the DPS this time around. There is a trade coming through in the meantime, however, as Yanti has to step up. The last player for DRS is in, and there's only one player for them to go, and it's a 1 versus 1 versus 1. Doc now has a real
little bit long range. That nade could have been disastrous. Does do a lot of damage. Isn't enough. Lucy's already down in the top.
they can do, especially if Weibo get forced out here.
Ooh. Some nice bolt action going on here in the very late stages. Sook says, I got one too. Who's got the better aim? They're not in the zone though. If you look at the top right, 13 meters from the zone. So that rock is in the zone. Actually, is it? You can see Sook looking at that rock and marking it. You can tell how far it is and if it's in the next circle or not. But that shack, they will have to leave it. Smoke's being prepped. Brute Force still in the circle at that divot though.
But can you all hide behind that angle, especially with IHC having that backstop high ground that Godless holds? You can't make that push before Godless gets down. And Alex has such a bead on this. With that K9, they do need to be careful. Fortunately, if he misses, they're basically across already, right? With that K9, that's the disadvantage you have against something like an M4, where they can just constantly keep that laser on your crossing.
So that rock does give them cover from IHC, but with 3 players back there, one of their butts might be sticking out to the side of Brute Force. Either way, if they could survive here, heading into stage 9, the last zone where everything is blue, who's got to move first? Which team is more central? It looks kind of like an even spacing throughout. Maybe Weibo Gaming has to be the first team to move out though. No, maybe actually Brute Force. And we are heading into the final zone.
They have got a little bit more terrain cover up to their left here, but IHC definitely have the closest to the center position right now. It's really down to Brute Force and Weibo as to who can find a pick, who can find a spot that they're looking for. Remember the nade utility that still exists in the Brute Force side. They can move forward. If they can nade out to Alex, it could be good, but he has nades of his own, and he lobs them on through. Brute Force should be going down here. I don't see any way that they make it further than 3rd place. Another burst in the air there for Godless. Finds another knock. Just the one player now left standing, and you've got to imagine just one more nade seals the deal. Neos is there, but Weibo is starting to make their break as well. Can't quite find the angle. It was close, but not quite all the way. Gap has to break out, and with 3 players of IHC gonna be rolling on through. It doesn't matter that they lost a player earlier. Can Gap find something miraculous here as they march on forwards?
Oh, that's one point. Oh, that's 2! No, that's...
may be able to turn it around for Weibo. He's moving forwards. He's got that first aid. Only the one, though. But the high ground for Godless is there. He is going to have to leave. How long do these smokes last? Gap up to the tree. He knows that he's there as well. The flush confirmed. Can Sook get res?
Oh!
Oh, my goodness me. Gap 1v3 is what looks to be an impossible task. And Weibo take it away just at the moment of defeat. The jaws don't close tight enough, and IHC have it torn away from them.